friends. My name is Josh. I'm one of the team pastors at Branch Life Church, where we just finished a series called Fit Body, Fit Mind, Fit Soul. And we'd love for you to jump to the Facebook videos in our page or to our YouTube channel or our website, branchlife.church, and you can watch our Fit series. We have a week on spiritual fitness, on mental fitness, and on physical fitness. And all of this is right out of the statement that's the greatest commandment in the Bible: love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul, with all your body, with all your thinking, and with all your spirit. And why did Moses give us those commandments? Well, he experienced all kinds of stuff in the Old Testament about spiritual fitness, mental fitness, and physical fitness, and why they matter. And so we talked about that. And this last week, we talked about physical fitness, and I got to share a little bit of my journey of losing 65 pounds during this past year, starting Christmas 2018 and still going now through Christmas 2019. And I want to share a little bit of that with you. But as far as physical fitness goes, if your fitness is one of your goals in 2020 is to be more fit, to be more healthy. For some, it may mean losing weight. For some, it may be getting stronger. For some, it may be just changing your diet or fighting a particular diagnosis. Fitness matters, and it matters to God. We're a whole person, and God wants us to be healthy as a whole person. And when one part of us isn't healthy, it drags out those other parts. I would venture to guess that if you get healthier physically, it's going to encourage your mental and your spiritual walk. And the same is true in all of those other areas. Healthier spiritually, healthier mentally is going to help you physically. And that's a big part of my story. But why are we sometimes not fit? Why does something, our spiritual life or our mental abilities or our physical fitness, why does it sometimes lag? Well, this last week we talked about 3 reasons why we become unfit. And as Christians, this is a really big deal. If you don't have a relationship with God and you're just listening to this, I just want to let you know that God is super important to me, and he was super important to this journey. And I give him all the credit for everything that's happened in my life. And he was a big part of stepping me through losing weight. I know there's people out there that don't believe in God who have lost weight and got physically healthy. I know that's true, but there's still a part of them, a spiritual part of them, that's not healthy. And I just want you to be healthy all across the board. So I'd love for you to have a relationship with God. And if you want to explore that, you can jump to branchlife.church and hit the gospel tab, and we can talk to you a little bit more about what it means to have a relationship with God, or just reach out to me personally in a private message, and I'd love to tell you more about God. But our spiritual fitness, our mental fitness, and our physical fitness sometimes lag because of 3 reasons. And this comes right out of the book of Numbers. Moses saw this firsthand. Sometimes we forget that it's God who provides. God is the one who has given us everything we need for fitness, spiritual, mental, and physical. God has given us an abundance. And so wherever you are, wherever you're finding yourself right now, God can provide for you to get healthy. So lean into God and put him at the center of your health. Maybe it's a relationship that's struggling. Maybe it's some emotional stress that you're going through. Maybe it's financial health. Put God at the center of it, and don't ever forget that he provides. God knows that we forget this so easily. So in the book of Numbers, he gave a picture to all of us. He told the Israelites to put the tabernacle in the center of the camp. He wanted their whole lives to revolve around him. And in the center of the tabernacle was the Holy of Holies and the Ark of the Covenant. And the Ark of the Covenant held 3 things. And it was in the center of life. It held the 10 Commandments, it held Aaron's rod, and it held a jar of manna. Manna was the stuff that God gave the Israelites every day to feed them for 40 years. And he said, hold this as a reminder that I'm the one that provides. So don't ever forget that God's the one who provides for your fitness all across the board. Number 2, sometimes we're not fit because we complain about what God provides. You know, you may have a perfectly good meal in front of you, but you don't like how it tastes. I don't want salad anymore. And we just start complaining. I don't really want this husband anymore, or I don't want this job anymore. I wish I had more money, or you're not giving me the right timing in a decision. And we start complaining about what God has provided. And that attacks our fitness. And so complaints are just excuses in disguise. So stop complaining about what God provides and be thankful for what it is God has given you. And he's given you everything you need for physical, mental, and spiritual fitness. The 3rd reason why our fitness struggles is because we misuse what God provides. And I'll tell you, in my story, all of these three things were true. I thought it was me. I thought I was the one that had to solve my problem, my fitness problem, but really God was the one who provided. I was complaining. I was often complaining about how I felt, about how I looked, and I thought about it quite a bit. And I was complaining about how God made me and the metabolism I had. I complained quite a bit. I also misused what God had provided. And I think this is a huge problem in our culture today. God has allowed us to be extremely blessed in this day, in this place, in this nation. We can walk into a grocery store and literally have mountains of food in front of us. We can go out to eat, and for $30, we can easily eat 3,000 to 4,000 calories in one sitting. And we think of that as something that's honorable, something that's desirable, something that's luxurious, when really that's extremely unhealthy. And we are misusing what God provides. So for me, learning to not misuse what God provides is a big part of what I'm going to be able to share with you in these 5 lessons that I learned while losing 65 pounds. So I'm going to jump right into it. Again, please interact. Please ask questions. Let me know where you're from. If you hear something you like it. If you're mad at something, give me the angry face or say, wow. Everybody right now, go ahead and test your like button. We would love for you to do that. Say hi and let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what some of your fitness goals are. And if somebody shares a goal, let's cheer for them as a community all across the way. So what are the 5 lessons that I learned for losing 65 pounds? And through this, I'm going to be able to tell you my story. I see those likes coming in, guys. Good. Keep it up. The first thing I learned while losing 65 pounds was the very first decision that I made back last year, 12 months ago. I was having a little bit of a pity party for myself. And I had done this quite a bit over the last 20 years where I would get sad or dejected about my weight. I would get self-conscious. I would do something that I realized how out of shape I was. I would have to be involved in something that I thought was embarrassing. I'd get my picture taken with someone. And in the early stages of planning this church, I had to be on video a lot. And I hated seeing myself on video. Doing even these chats for me was embarrassing. And I was extremely self-conscious about it. So I would go to bed most nights and complain to God about how out of shape I was and that I wasn't getting any healthier. And I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, yet I was big. I've always been big. I've always struggled with weight. I've always been somebody that can't eat a lot. And if I'm slowing down, if I'm sedentary, if I'm not very active, I will gain weight, and I will gain weight fast. And I've learned that about myself. I never was a very big eater. I actually stayed away from a lot of junk food, or so I thought. And I decided to have this conversation with God, and I had seen God do some incredible things in the planning of this church, some miraculous things, some unbelievable things. And I finally said to God, I'm struggling with, I struggle. It was my deepest struggle. My most personal struggle was my bashfulness about my weight. And I just talked to God about it. Now, I had prayed 1,000 times before, but this was different. I said, God, I'm going to trust you with this. I'm going to trust you to help me, and I'm going to go where you lead me. Well, what happened, and this was the first lesson I learned, was God immediately put 3 people into my life that he wanted me to share my concerns with. So the first lesson I learned was recruit a team. One of the things that was really different about this time than all the other times I tried to lose weight, and I tried a lot of times to lose a lot of weight, was I talked to other people about it. I actually shared it. Because I was so embarrassed, because I was so bashful, and I feared what other people thought of me, I never told a soul how much it bothered me that I would lose weight. There are things that people said to me 20 years ago that still bother me because they were joking about my weight, and I laughed it off. But I was so self-conscious about it that it bothered me. So because of that reason, I didn't tell anybody except my wife. Every now and then I would just share with her, and only her. But she was the first person that I talked to in depth and said, Jenny, we have to do something about this. She said, I'm all on board. And then immediately I was connected with 2 guys that have also lost weight, and they help people and they coach people with nutrition and weight loss plans. They sell a program that I'm not promoting or pushing. I didn't even participate in their program, but they volunteered to coach me. And what they did is every week they sent me a Facebook message. I had a weigh-in on Mondays That was my self-prescribed weigh-in. I encourage weighing in once a week, not every day. And every Monday or Tuesday, if they didn't hear from me, they would say, how'd your weigh-in go? And I would talk to them about where I was that week. It wasn't very long. It's 3 or 4 minutes a week. But these two guys, through that Facebook message, just constantly encouraged me every step of the way. There were some weeks this last year where I lost 3 or 4 pounds. There were some weeks where I gained a pound or a half a pound. And they were with me through the whole journey. I recruited a team. Not long after those 3 guys did I start talking to other people in my life, and I started asking them to pray for me. And I let it be known that I was starting this journey. So recruiting a team was the number one lesson that I learned for losing weight. What I found when I started telling people was nobody judged me. Everybody encouraged me. Everybody supported me, and everybody was rooting me on all across the board. And it was so incredible. I know some people have gone public online and said, hey, I'm going to try to lose weight. And my coach tried to tell me to do that. And for 4 or 5 months, I didn't do it. I just didn't do it. I was too embarrassed. What if it didn't work? What if I didn't lose weight? But recruiting a team was the number one lesson. So coaches really, really help. God's got to be team member number one. But your spouse, your significant other, please share it with them. And then also recruiting people along the way. I don't mind helping, and I want to encourage you if I can be an encouragement to you. I don't mind making a Facebook chain and having you check in and keeping you accountable, asking you what your goals are. But there may be somebody else in your life or somebody close to you who you can recruit to be on your team. And I would encourage you to create a group. You might be in a small group at your church. Talk to them about it. Let them know what you're trying to do and trying to accomplish, and recruit your small group as a team. It's a spiritual endeavor. If you get physically fit, it's going to help you spiritually. So don't be embarrassed to recruit a team. It's number one. And it was super, super encouraging for me. So the second lesson that I learned, and please let us know where you're listening from. Like us along the way. Subscribe to branchlife.church, our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. We'd love for you to do that and listen to these talks that we had in our physical fitness journey. The second thing that I learned, I shared this last night, was know your numbers. Know your numbers. I had no idea what my numbers were. And what I mean by numbers is I mean my physical fitness numbers. There's a couple of numbers that you need to know if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to gain muscle, if you're trying to become healthier, whatever it may be. And that's calories in, calories out. How many calories do you eat during a day? Do you know how many calories it takes for an average person to maintain their current weight in a given day? That number for most people is around 2,000. Now, your number is going to be a little different, 2,000 calories more or less. But you need to know what that number is. And then you need to know how many calories you're eating and how many calories you're burning. And that was kind of like, duh, you hear that all the time. But I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what a hamburger and a cup of soda and a box of French fries cost me as far as calories were concerned. But it cost me quite a bit. Now, remember, I said I gain weight easily. So I'm a body type that gains weight fast. And so I am a less than 2,000 calorie guy. I'm also sedentary because I'm a pastor. I'm not out moving all day. I'm sitting, I'm studying, I'm reading, I'm talking, I'm driving, I'm meeting people for lunch. And so I don't get a lot of steps in. And so for me, 2,000 calories is an amount of calories that actually causes me to gain weight. So I'm eating currently less than 2,000 calories a day, and I've done that for this entire year, but I've also kept track of my numbers every day for this entire year. Now, once you know your numbers, that will inform you on how to best move forward. So let me give you a tip about knowing your numbers. Grab a free app called MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal is totally free, and it's a little diary that you can use. You can type in what you eat during the day. I'm using my phone to record this, otherwise I'd show you. And breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, how much water you're drinking, what soda you're drinking, what tea, what coffee, whatever. Put it all in there, and it'll tell you exactly how many calories that is. It'll also tell you what your nutritions are if you want to pay more attention to macros, protein, carbs, sugar, et cetera, et cetera. Those things are will become, now it's going to be annoying. Every time you eat something, you have to put it in your phone, but it's going to help you know your numbers. And so, yeah, that's going to be way less milkshakes for you. I haven't had a milkshake in a long time because I can't afford the calories. So you put that in and you're going to easily see how much. Now this app is crowdsourced. So every meal you can get at Chili's or Applebee's or Taco Bell or McDonald's is already programmed in there. It's going to be able to search them. But if you have 2 eggs, a piece of toast, some bacon, and jelly on your toast, put that in for breakfast and it's going to show you. And then know those numbers. If your numbers are 2, 3, 4, 5,000 a day, which is not unusual for most people, you're going to struggle losing weight. Now, if you're not someone that gains weight, your calories matter if you're trying to put on weight, if you're trying to bulk, if you're trying to gain some muscle. And that's going to be a different road for you, but it's still going to be a matter of knowing your numbers. So the first lesson I learned was recruit a team and then know your numbers, which will then lead you to this second lesson, or this third lesson. And this was a big one for me. 75% of the battle is what you eat. 75% of the battle is what you eat. I always thought, I'm just gonna walk more, or I'm gonna run more, or I'm gonna go in the garage and I'm gonna lift weights. And then I can miraculously eat anything I want during the day. I can't do that. Listen, here's some of the numbers. Know what every exercise gives you as far as calories. Now, MyFitnessPal, you can also put in walked for 45 minutes or ran 9 miles per hour or lifted weights for 30 minutes. You can put all that in the app and it'll actually give you a credit for more calories, and you know how much it burns and how much it doesn't. Exercise burns hundreds of calories, but you eat thousands a day. So exercise, yes, is extremely important, very helpful, but it's a small part of your battle. If you can get control over what you're eating, it's going to make a huge difference, 75% difference. So it matters what you eat. I started back a year ago changing my diet. I did not change my activity level. I did not change my exercise routines. I only started by changing my diet. I made a couple of rules, and my wife helped me do this because she helped with dinners and preparing lunches and that kind of stuff. But we decided to go with a plan, a semi-keto plan. So we knew some family members that had done keto, which keto is just low sugar and low carbs, almost no sugar and almost no carbs. And we decided to make that change. Well, all of a sudden, when you are saying no to added sugar and added carbs, that means you're saying no to bread, you're saying no to donuts, you're saying no to French fries, you're saying no to the hoagie roll, you're saying no to potato soup. I love potato soup. Pasta was out. Sugar in my coffee was out. And I was like, oh man, this is crazy. Those rules forced me to have less calories. And then I was keeping track of just my diet. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you and say, hey, you can now no longer eat any bread, any pasta, any potatoes, and no sugar. But that works, and it works for me. It could work for you. But if you know your numbers and you know 75% of it is your diet, then here's the fourth lesson I learned. Well, out of 75%, now you can make a plan. Make a plan that works for you. Make a plan that helps get your numbers under control. Keto worked for me because I like eggs, I like cheese, I like meat, and I can have those things in my calorie count. Other people don't like eggs, so they don't know what to eat in the morning. You just got to pick a different plan and know your numbers. So as you know your numbers and you know it's diet, then pick at something. My coaches, they do a plan called Optavia, which is kind of like Nutrisystem for men, where all the food gets sent to you. If you can't figure this out, one of those programs could be awesome for you because it's going to help you with your numbers, and you'll be able to learn how to deal with what you're eating and be able to make the changes that you need to make. Again, don't be embarrassed to ask for help. Don't be embarrassed to become a part of a program. I don't think fad diets are really a good idea, but you can do whatever works to control your numbers. 75% of it is your diet. So I've talked about 3 things I've learned while losing 65 pounds. Number 1, recruit a team. It starts with a big decision talking to God, and God will bring all the resources you need to get fit. So recruit a team. Number 2, know your numbers. MyFitnessPal helps with that. Know what you're eating, know what you're burning. MyFitnessPal can help you know your numbers. Number 3, 75% of the battle is what you eat. Here's another way to say it. You can't out-exercise a bad diet. You can't run enough to have a high-calorie diet and still lose weight. You can't lift weights enough. You can't CrossFit enough. It's going to be what you eat. So just change that first. So my first 30 pounds that I lost, and that took me between January and somewhere in June, so almost 6 months to lose 30 pounds, was just simply changing my diet. 30 pounds in 6 months just by changing my diet. If you know your numbers, start a plan. Don't go drastically below 2,000. That's not healthy, but have a plan that you stick with, and then roll through it. Here's the 4th principle: consistency, consistency, consistency. Stick with it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. This has been over a year for me, and I'm still working on this. Another way to think about it is, not when can I be done, but what's next. So sticking with it week after week after week, month after month after month, is going to be the secret to the sauce. I want to encourage you to not think about it as a diet, but to think about it as a change, a permanent change. I'm not planning on going back to a lot of the food that I've left behind. I'm not planning on having a cup of coffee every day with 2 or 3 scoops of sugar and as much milk as I can fit into it. It just doesn't fit in my calorie count. And I missed that for the first few weeks, for the first few months. That was one of the hardest changes for me, but I don't miss that anymore. And I want to make a permanent change. And now once I know my numbers, I know what it costs me. I'm able to stick with it and stick with it in the long run. So sticking with it more than a couple of weeks, more than a couple of months, and sticking with this change of diet, you will see incredible things happen as you know your numbers, as you start fighting this battle of eating and what you do, and then sticking with it for the long run. Now, the last principle I learned is, it's not when is this done, but what's next. So a lot of people say, I'm going to be on a diet, and I'm going to be on a diet for a few weeks or a few months, and then I'm going to be done with the diet, and then I can live the rest of my life. For me, that never worked. I would do diets. I've done MyFitnessPal in the past. I've tracked my numbers, and I was down and up and down and up, because it would get done and I would go right back to the old way of eating. And for me, that was not really making sure of what came in, not really being consistent with my eating plan, not really working out like I was supposed to be. So instead of saying, when am I done? I started saying, what's next? And this was just a simple matter of making goals. What's my next goal weight? What's my next change in my routine? And the first change and the only change that I made for 6 months was changing my diet, and I was able to lose 30 pounds. A lot of people may stop there, and this is something that my coaches helped me with, but they said, what's next? What's your next goal? So my first goal, I started at 230 pounds at my highest. And for a guy that's 5'8", that's considered morbidly obese. My first goal was 200 pounds. I just wanted to get below 200. I don't know when the last time that was. And I wanted just to cross under that 200. So my goal was 199. Well, I got there sometime in the first 5 or 6 months. And I remember getting to the under 200 goal, and I'd lost 30 pounds. I was super excited, and I could have stopped right there. But my coach encouraged me and said, what's next? Not, are you done? And so I quickly made another goal. You know what? I think I can get to 180 or 175. And I haven't been that weight since college, high school, I don't know. And that would have been new for me, but that was my next challenge. I also added movement to my plan, because I had tapered down to only maybe a pound weight loss a week. And I decided to do something. I added 30 minutes of sweat a day. 30 minutes of sweat. It's not that much when you think about it, but you had to change something in order for something to change. And so what's next for me was adding 30 minutes of sweat. So I started walking around the neighborhood, or I started to lift weights, or I started to play basketball or run around with the kids. And so I just started to move for 30 minutes a day and get my heart rate up. Once I started to do that, the walks turned into runs. The little workouts in the garage turned into long workouts in the garage. I know, because my friends are here that I play with. How do you find time to add 30 minutes? Well, you've got to sacrifice something. And for me, I'd sit, I'd study, I'd play games on my phone, I'd do something like that. So I said, before I do that, I'm going to trade in a half-hour television show for a half-hour of movement. And I just was able to swap something else out that wasn't helping me with my fitness and add it to my plan. And so the second part of my journey was adding physical activity. My diet stayed about the same, but my physical activity changed. And now I'm active almost every day of the week, sometimes 30, maybe 40 minutes a day. I've gotten into running. I run once or twice a week. But I found that for me, lifting weights was a huge help. And it was a help because it changed my numbers more significantly than even running changed my numbers. And so I love to lift. I don't have to necessarily lift heavy, but I've just put a little home gym in my garage, and I get to do that 3 or 4 times a week. And then when I'm off of lifting or running, when I'm off of lifting, I'll do a little bit of cardio. And so I've added that into my routine. So what was next after 30 minutes of sweat? Run a little bit more, run 3 miles, run 4 miles. And I've been able to do those things. So that's what's got me to this point, getting to the point where I've lost 65 pounds. My next goal, I'm at 163 right about now. I'd love to get out of the 160s. And then what's next for me is not losing more weight, but getting more strength, getting stronger, becoming more fit. And so I'm excited to change and to do that kind of stuff. So
your broadcast was interrupted on Facebook.
What's that?
Your broadcast was interrupted on Facebook.
Okay. Is it totally dead, or is it back on?
It's not back on yet.
All right. You sure?
Let me see. Let me take you off and put you back.
Can you guys hear me? Can you thumbs up if I'm on? I think I'm losing people because I got a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? No thumbs up?
Nope, they're jumping off. Yeah. That's where it dropped you off, a little home gym in the garage.
Yep. Thank you again, YouTube, for hanging in there. Facebook got interrupted by a phone call. So just kind of finishing up, and we'll kind of splice this together. That was the 5 lessons that I learned while losing 65 pounds. So guys, thanks for jumping in and listening. I got a phone call, and that interrupted the live stream on my phone. So lesson learned, go to airplane mode when you're trying to talk to people about losing weight. So the 5 lessons, and this is just to review, and I mentioned all these things, and I just finish up my story. It was recruit a team, know your numbers, calories in, calories out, know what exercises burn what calories. Then you can create a plan, because 75% of the battle is your diet. So create a plan. For me, the keto plan worked. It worked really well. My biggest challenge was missing my hoagies, but I still have hoagies. I just take the bread away. And then sticking with the plan, consistency over the long run. And then another way to say that is, it's not when am I done? It's what's next. And I'm still on that journey. I'm excited to still be on this journey. I have a little bit more weight to lose, but working on just getting more physically fit and paying attention to some different numbers. So for me, something else has got to change in 2020 if I'm going to stay on this journey. And I'm looking into doing something that causes me to be more active. That's fun. That's with a group of people. Maybe it's playing basketball with a team, or volleyball, or I'm poking around with the idea of doing CrossFit or something like that, where I'm getting together with people. So for me, that's what's next. That's the next thing in my journey. But I want to encourage you. It started for me with one big decision, but then it's been followed up by thousands of little decisions. And those little decisions are where it takes. Yes, I might do a tougher. I've thought about doing one of those things. I'm just a little nervous. So we went to, here's a fun story about now having lost some weight. We took Will, my son, who just turned 7, to the trampoline park, Urban Air. I thought to myself, a year ago, I could not have spent 4 hours jumping on trampolines and climbing on stuffs. And they have a ninja course there at this Urban Air. And I'm like, I'm going to be an American Ninja Warrior. I'm in big shape now. I couldn't even hold myself up on the rings. So I've got a long way to go before I'm a tough mudder, or someone who's running Spartan races, or Mr. CrossFit man. But that's something that I'm looking forward to in 2020 is even getting healthier, getting stronger, and being able to encourage more people to do the same. So I'd love to be an encouragement to you if I could, and I would be glad to connect or talk further. We can talk to you about more details about the different things that we did over this last year. I can brag on my wife a little bit. She was a huge blessing, and she didn't need to, but she lost a lot of weight herself over this last year. And she was the secret behind all of it. So the team started with her, and then we were able to build an encouragement. So I hope these things have been an encouragement for you. Love for you to jump over to branchlife.church and check out the whole fitness series. All 3 of the sermons are on our Facebook page, and then 2 of them are on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that. And then 2 of them are on our website, branchlife.church. But we're also excited to be starting a brand new series this next week at Branch Life Church. It's a series called Broken, and it's a study through the book of 1 Corinthians. And man, we are broken people in a broken world. There's a lot of division. There's a lot of hurt. And 1 Corinthians teaches us about healing. So it's hope and healing for a broken world. And I hope that if you have not yet connected with a church, that maybe Branch Life could be an encouragement to you. And all along the way. And we want to encourage you, no matter where you are in your journey, whether you want to be more physically fit, mentally fit, or spiritually fit. And so guys, don't hesitate to reach out, and don't hesitate to share this with other people. Even talk to God about it tonight, because don't forget, God is the one who provides. We're not going to complain about what he provides anymore. We're going to be thankful for it. No more excuses. And then we're not going to misuse the provision that he has given us. So recruit a team. Know your numbers. 75% of the battle is what you eat. Stick with it. Consistency, consistency, consistency. Then not am I done yet, but what's next? And I'm excited to see what's next for you. Hopefully this has been an encouragement, and hopefully God can use this to encourage you in your walk and in your growth. Have a great night, guys.